Welcome. Hare Krishna. Is anyone here for the first time? Oh, a lot of you. Okay, very good. So this is harekrishnavalley.com.au. The purpose of this place is to show a positive alternative to the world. Because at this point in time, humanity is a little bit lost. People you can see around the world, there's some chaos is swelling around the world. And people don't know how to fix it. They don't know what the answer is. And they try everything. They have all sorts of meetings and seminars and gatherings, and they form the United Nations, which by definition is supposed to unite everyone, but people are more divided than ever. Countries are divided. So what we teach people here is how to live together in a positive way that is real. Just like you'll see here, after lunch you can come and visit our cows if you like to visit our cows. And each of our cows has names. What are some of their names? Most of you haven't met them, so you don't know it. But some of you may. We have
Gayatri.
Yeah, Gayatri, Hamsi, Revati. Which one? Revati.
I remember him.
Yeah, Revati is there. So many of them. Akadashi. So many beautiful names for the cows. Why? Because the cows are our family. They're our friends. This is an ahimsa dairy. Ahimsa, the word means non-violence. Just like in Buddhism. It's very famous, this word, ahimsa. Ahimsa means no harm. Now it means I will not harm you. So here we have an ahimsa dairy, which means the cows can live here and there's no harm. They don't have to worry about being slaughtered. Right? Next door we have a beef farm, where all the cows get taken away. Right? And they take all the calves from their mothers, and it's inhumane. They say, oh, we treat them humanely. That's not, to our definition, that's not humane. Humane means you never separate the children from the parents. So here in our farm, we teach a different example. Because if you want real peace in the world, it's not just about the human beings. It's also about the animals, it's about the plants, it's about the earth itself. Because if you don't look after everything, if it's not holistic, you cannot have peace on the earth. So just like now, they want to stop all the wars and all the fighting. But the people who are fighting, they're eating the animals every day. So how do you have peace? If you can't have peace with the animals, and you can't treat them respectfully, then how do you expect the humans to be peaceful? That's what causes the wars. The wars they are caused by the humans performing negative karma to the animal kingdom, for example, and exploiting them, and then eventually all that karma, it gets together, and then all the humans come together, and then they start attacking to each other. So if you want to be peaceful, you have to learn these basic principles. So here at Hare Krishna Valley, we teach these things. Right? We look after the humans. All of you are safe here. We will not harm you in any way. And all the animals are safe here as well. We don't harm them. Just like after we finish our talk and everything, we'll have a feast, right? All vegetarian food, right? The animals are not harmed, right? It's not that, we say, okay, we're going to have a roast something or like that. We don't do like that, because that means there's violence to give us pleasure. We don't do like that. And similarly, all the humans, you're all safe here as well. We're not going to put you on the spit, and roast you, even though some of you look very tasty. But we would not do that. We would not do that. In some places in the world they do that. They roll people off the pyramid and then they have a feast. Now that's culturally acceptable. It's not culturally acceptable here. We won't allow those things to take place here. So this is a place of genuine peace, because in the world these days there is a lot of watered down or pseudo spiritual teachings. Have you come in contact with anything like that? No? Okay, one person. Yeah. Sometimes we meet pseudo spiritual teachings. Where people everything's just spiritual, and we're also spiritual, and we just look at each other very spiritually. And everything's just spiritual like that, but we don't do that here. We don't just look at everyone when you come in, we don't just give like, spiritual looks. Welcome to Hare Krishna Valley. I can feel your aura. So, we don't do like that, because it's genuine. Right? Because you can't talk like that and then you go out the back and then you eat a hamburger or something like that. That's a dichotomy. It means you're saying one thing but then you do another thing. That's not what we're about here. What we do here is genuine spiritual things. So you saw as you walked in, or as you drove in, and then you got over to go you walk, you might have seen a 2-ton Ganesh sitting there. Where did he come from? Right? Bali. We just brought him over from Bali. And then now he's arrived. And we're going to put him in our meditation garden, which we're just building out the back here, which should be finished in the next 2 months or so. So next time you come here, you can go into our meditation garden and you can be with Ganesh. Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. If you have obstacles in your life, you can pray to Lord Ganesh and he can help to remove the obstacles. And he's very powerful. So he'll be one of the center features of our meditation garden as we go forward. So what we try to do here is teach people how to solve the problems of life. Hands up if anyone has any problems in their life. Anyone, everyone, Bueller, everyone. So everyone has problems. We all have problems in our life. But you don't have to have problems. In one sense, the problems don't go away. Even I have problems. You can't live in this material world and expect everything to be perfect. That's not possible. Problems will come. But it's how you deal with the problems. And it's how you minimize the problems. Right? A lot of the problems we bring upon ourselves, right? Artificially or unnecessarily. We cause the problems to come into our life, right? Because we make the wrong decisions. That's why we teach people, don't eat the animals. Because when you eat the animals, all that negative energy that comes back to you, that is called karma. That will come back. So that's why we teach people not to do those things, so that you can live more peacefully. So one of the best ways to eliminate problems in this world is by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. It's what we did just before. What did you think about the chanting? Did it have like a positive spiritual kind of vibration? Yeah. Did everyone seem quite happy? Yeah. Yeah, it might have been different to you. You might have thought, I've never seen this before, I never experienced something like this. Right? It's very powerful, actually. I've been doing this now for over 30 years, this chanting. We chant on beads, meditation beads, every day for about 2 hours. Those of us who are ordained like followers of the tradition. For 2 hours we meditate on our beads. And while we're chanting and meditating, the sound vibration, which is purely spiritual, it eliminates all the negative karma and also all the negative consciousness within your soul. And then you feel very bright and very happy, and then you feel like dancing. Right? You know when you're happy because you feel like dancing. We're Hare Krishnas, we just like to dance all the time. That's why, whenever we start chanting, we end up dancing. We just become more and more blissful. Just like when I go to India, sometimes we chant with 3,000 of us all together. Right? And everyone dances, and it's very powerful, this chanting. So this can solve all the problems in the world. Right? Because the chanting has spiritual symbolism. Right? It's not just material sound. And it can eliminate all of the negative karma within the universe. So if we get all the people in the world who are having conflicts at the moment, people are shooting each other at the moment and blowing each other up and attacking each other, we just get them all together and say, hey, put down your weapons. Put your hands in the air. Start chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And everyone dance and chant together. And then afterwards we'll have a feast. What is your problem? Oh, you crazy people who... What's their problem? You don't have to let it go that far. Next time you're in an argument with someone, say, hey, come on, let's just chant together. Right? Just say, put your hands in the air and we'll chant. Just start dancing and chanting together in your kitchen. Or if you're in Swanston Street, just go around Swanston Street, Hare Krishna, just put your hands in the air. I've been doing this for years. Chanting and dancing through the streets of the world. I chanted one time under the Eiffel Tower. And we were chanting through Paris, and then we got to the Eiffel Tower, and then we went under the Eiffel Tower. It was very, very powerful. Up and down Swanston Street, Berg Street, Collins Street, I've done it for years. And wherever we go, we see the atmosphere changes. And you see people, they begin to smile. They feel a little self-conscious to join in sometimes. Yeah, some people feel, oh, I'm a little shy, you know. But you can see in their hearts and in their eyes, they want to join in. They want to dance and chant with us. One of our mottos at Hare Krishna Valley in the Hare Krishna movement is chant and be happy. Right? Just come together and chant and be happy. If it doesn't work, we'll give your money back. If it doesn't work. But no, it works. These things work. Because the sacred sound vibration, they're made up of names of God himself. In our tradition, we see God as a blue cowherd boy. You see in all the pictures. You see that blue cowherd boy? That is Krishna. That's how we see God. Very happy person. Krishna is blissful and very happy. That's why he's bluish. You see when the sky is blue, just like today? Actually, no. Okay. No, okay. But you've seen a blue sky before? Somewhere? No? Not in this part of the world, but you know, if you go to other parts of the world, the sky is often blue. Actually, you see the happiest places in the world when they do when they try to understand who are the happiest nations. It's quite often the nations which are experiencing blue skies. Because then you see when the sky is blue, it opens up your heart chakra and you feel very happy, very... So Krishna is that color. He's like a bluish color. He's so happy and he's so blissful that he wants to feel like that continuously. So that's how we see God. We don't see him as an old man sitting on a throne with a white beard, but he's a young cowherd boy, 16 years old, and he's very playful and very sweet. You know, feeds peacocks, dances with his friends, looks after his cows, has picnics all day. Hands up if you'd like to go back to the spiritual world. Have picnics all day, feed peacocks, dance, and play with cows. Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Yeah, so because some people say, well, that's your belief. Yeah, it is my belief, but it makes a lot of sense. I want to go back and live like that. You know, no taxes, no coronavirus, no birth, no death, no old age, no disease, no conflicts. Yeah, I want to go to a place like that. So this makes sense, this thing. So by chanting, we commune or we connect with Krishna, the Supreme Person, and we feel his presence very deeply within our heart and our soul, and it makes us happy, naturally. And then no matter what's going on in your life, you still feel happy, you still feel satisfied. So next time you have a problem, just try it. Just dance around your kitchen, chant Hare Krishna, put your hands in the air, you'll see things will get better. It's worked for me for many, many years. This is one of our secrets. So we bought this property over 30 years ago, and we built this building. This was actually our school. We had a primary school here. We ran a Hare Krishna primary school for about 7 years. And the school closed. The government were trying to merge small schools in the 90s. So they were closing down small schools all over country Victoria. So at that time, unfortunately, we lost our government funding and the school closed. And everyone moved to our other farm, which is near Byron Bay, near Murwillumbah. We have an 800-acre farm, even more beautiful than this. This place is beautiful, but that place is heavenly. So we have a community up there where the school is running. And then about 15 years ago, myself and Manigriva and Tarini, we all moved here. And we run retreats on a regular basis. You see on our posters on the window. We have about 4 retreats coming up in the next couple of months. And we teach people how to live a positive alternative, because outside society is not working so well. So when you come here, you can learn a positive way to live that will help to elevate your consciousness. And you can feel peaceful and you can feel happy. And then we look after our cows, and we have 200 acres and we grow organic vegetables. And that's very important right now because I was listening on the radio yesterday. They said around the world, food prices will go up 1/3 in the next year. So what does it mean? We have to grow our own food. Eventually become too expensive. That's why we have our land here. We have 6 acres. We grow lots of food here. But we have to grow more, because when problems start, people will come here and they'll want something to eat. So we're growing more. So if you want to come and help us, come and help us. We can grow lots of food, sustain ourselves. So does anyone have any questions or comments that you'd like to ask? Sometimes people like to ask questions to us about the meaning of life, the universe, everything, deeper spiritual things, or anything about our lifestyle or our philosophy or anything. So if any of you would like to ask anything you ever want to know, then you can ask us.
I have an anecdote to share.
Yes.
When someone does something stupid in the traffic, or
Yeah.
there's a conflict in business, my wife says to me, and now I remember to say Hare Krishna, and it breaks the feeling to have a fight or an argument, and makes you think a little bit more higher than positive than the other energy or person that has this issue, whether by design or by accident. It makes the coping much better, and it quite often makes the other person feel a lot different. That's my sharing.
I think it's very nice. Next month you can come and give out the talk here, and you can. I like your points. Very good. This is practical. Practical. Yeah, we're practical here. We put things into practice. Now, we don't just talk about, spiritual philosophy and just give you like spiritual looks, and but we actually live a practical. Because we need practical solutions, because the world is a little chaotic at the moment. So we need to practically, how do we fix these things? So, thank you for sharing. Very beautiful point. Please come again.
I share.
Any other questions or points you'd like to? Yes, madam.
Is it bad to be young and coming to this?
Is it bad?
Being a young kid like me.
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm only 12.
You're only 12, yeah.
And is it a bad thing to come and do this? Like, do you need to be an adult?
No, it's actually a good thing. Yeah, it's actually a good thing. It's probably actually better, because you're very fortunate your parents, they're open-minded and they brought you here, because they're good parents. I know.
Yeah, good job, Mom.
Yeah. So it's good that they brought you to something, because they said to me before they wanted to bring you kids here to show you something different. So you learn about there's more things in the world than just like the mainstream things that we learn. There's more than just being on our iPhone. Just saying. I'm just saying. Because my daughter's 17, so I know exactly what's going on. So there's more than just being on your own phone, just playing Nintendo and what do they call it these days? PlayStation or Xbox or whatever it is. Those things are okay, but if that's all we think life is about, then we might end up being depressed. So you need to learn more about life. So you're very fortunate actually that you came as a young person, because now it gives you an outlook in life that you can see, well, there's other ways to live as well. And then you might learn something here that then you can incorporate in your life. And then as you grow up, and then people have problems, sometimes maybe your friends have some problems, and you can say, hey, that's okay. Why don't we just chant Hare Krishna for a few minutes, and then maybe our problems will disappear. So you're learning different things, different ways to deal with problems. Because these days people have a lot of problems, they don't know how to deal with it. So we say to people, hey, just do what we do, it works. Doesn't mean the problems go away, but it means you can cope with it a lot better and you feel happy. So yeah, you're welcome to come here. Bring your friends. Maybe, if they want to come. Yes, sir.
What if it's a day before like a test or assignment
Yep.
at school, and if you chant the day before, will it still help?
Not as much as doing the homework.
What'd you say?
Not as much as doing the homework.
I would disagree.
I just thought you might.
Yeah. It's my, if I don't disagree, then the whole world's going to be good. No, it will help. It helps everything. Everything in your life, the chanting will help. And one of the problems is my daughter's actually doing VCE. She's doing year 12, like as we speak. And there's too much pressure put on everyone at the moment, and particularly kids. We say like, this 1 year is going to solve everything in your life. It's all the assignments and all the homework, and it's the tests and the exams, and that's what your whole life's about. But we all know that's not true. So everyone puts like pressure on us, and then we have to do well. And like you said, you know, the day before, and you think it's a big assignment and everything like that. Just do your best. That's what I tell her. Just do your best. There's no pressure. Yeah, even if she fails, that she doesn't fail in our eyes. She doesn't fail in Krishna's eyes, like that. So just do your best. And if you do really well, that's really good. But you don't have to feel like there's all pressure, because you know, people go to university. I think, what's the figures? Like 60% of people who finish university courses never work in that industry. So then what's it all about anyway? And you know, my daughter's going to defer next year. You know, we've already decided she can defer. I said, you know, have 5 years off if you want. You know, you don't have to go, like, you know, what's the big deal? Like, you know, like friends of mine, when I went to school, they didn't work out what they wanted to do until they were 25. And so we don't have to feel there's so much pressure. Yeah, so don't feel too much pressure. And if you're feeling pressure, just do some chanting, and then the pressure will be less. And if you're sitting in the exam in the classroom with all the kids, and everyone's like concentrating, and you look around and you see people under pressure, just stand up and say, Hare Krishna! I don't know if you go to the principal's office or not. But if you see the principal, you know, and he says, well, what was that about? You just say, Hare Krishna! It works. It was a good question. Thank you.
I wish I would have had that tool to refer to when I was doing my VC and when I went to university.
Yeah.
There were people eating boiled lollies with the cellophane paper. And you were trying to concentrate, and all you could hear is the cellophane lollies.
Yeah, there's too much pressure put on everyone these days. These things, you know, we have to put the world in perspective. At the end of the day, what do you need? You need food and you need shelter. Materially, that's what you need. So, you know, you can solve that problem. You know, we've all got something to eat and we've all got shelter. There's just way too much pressure being put on everyone. And then when you become an adult, there's too much pressure in other ways and like that. Just everyone just needs to put everything back in perspective a little bit. Just like my wife, she's gone to Melbourne. She'll be back hopefully soon for lunch. She just found out a couple of days ago her guru has got cancer and he's going to pass away. He's 69 years old. So she's gone to Melbourne to meet with other disciples and to, you know. So, you know, when you get this kind of news that someone who's very close to you or someone who's spiritual inspiration or yourself, when you get a life-threatening disease like that, it puts everything back into perspective. Right? So I try to live my life like that every day. Right? Put everything in perspective. Nothing's that serious or important. You know, we don't need all this pressure that's on us in this modern world so much. So some people say, oh, you're just trying to escape, but no, we're actually being intelligent. You know, deal with things properly, because otherwise, look at the world. It's everyone's under too much stress at the moment. Who says we have to work 9 to 5? Who says? Who made that up? Seriously, who made that up?
A main person.
You know,
Well, it suited society to have it like that. It suited society to have it like that. If you look into all those societal norms, there's always a reason behind it.
yeah, because
It just leaves the way that someone decided was prosperous or useful.
yeah, it's a capitalistic view. Just like, you know, we just had an election last week, was it? Or 2 weeks ago, we had an election in Australia. So if you listen to, whenever you listen to the election speeches of the Labours, the Liberals, the Greens, it doesn't matter who it is, ultimately everything comes back to economics, right? And that's not actually the main thrust of society. That's a portion or a part of our world is economics. Because if we don't have economics, the whole thing stops. But that's not the main thing. But everyone always drives the main thing. So where does this 9 to 5 thing comes from? It comes from capitalism. You know, because we need to make as much money as you can, work everyone as hard as you can, stress everyone out as much as you can. That's not what. Who said? Why don't we just work 11 till 3? Hands up if you prefer that. Yeah. So why don't we do it? What's the deal? 11 till 3. We can get everything done. Well, what do we need to do? Or, I mean, seriously, what's so important that we need to be there from 9 to 5? You know, just work from 11 to 3, get it all done, and then, you know, in the morning you can do your spiritual stuff. In the afternoon you can do more spiritual, or you can relax a bit, go for a swim. Or do something, whatever you want to do. It's just the whole world's, it's unnecessary pressure on everyone at the moment. So we need to put things back into perspective. Very good question. So, any other questions or comments? The kids are leading the way.
What does a typical day look like for working on the property here?
Working on the property here? Yeah, we get up around about, say, 4:30 in the morning.
11.
Yeah, it's not actually like that here.
They're up at 4:30.
Starts at 11. 3, they go for a swim.
Pretty much. We could actually do that if we had more people here. No, it's a good point. If we had more people here, we could do that. We could do that. But yeah, there's only a few of us here, and it's 200 acres. There's a lot to do. So we get up about 4:30 something.
200 acres.
What's that?
200.
200, yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much, when you drove in, so pretty much from that front gate when you came in, all that's the side of the valley on both sides, that's ours. So this is one boundary here, and then I'll show you later when we go for a walk, I'll show you like the rest of it. So, it's a 200 acre property, so we go about 4:30, and then we do our chanting. We come together and we chant. And then usually I read some spiritual work, some spiritual books. And I do a little bit of what we call puja, or some spiritual, it's kind of like a worship that I do in my life.
So you're doing this personally yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that what everybody else kind of does?
Pretty
You've got
much.
your personal reflections, and then
Yeah.
times when you come together and do the chanting.
Yeah, we're pretty much in the mornings from say 4:30 till around about 7 or so. We're just focusing on our spiritual stuff. Then at 7 o'clock, then Maggie goes across to the cows. She goes to visit the cows, and then if we're milking them at the time, then we'll milk the cows, clean up the cow barn, and look after things there. And then we usually have breakfast around about 8:30, something like that. And then during the day, then we do whatever needs to do. At the moment, we're building our meditation garden. We're building a new veggie garden on the other side. Fix fences. We have catering jobs, get ready for retreats, whatever we're doing. Just so that's a normal day. And then in the afternoons, later in the day, then we'll do our reading or our spiritual stuff. So that's basically what we kind of do. So if you'd like to come and stay here with us, just let me know.
I reckon it sounds alright. I could do it for at least a few months.
Yeah.
And we come together for prasadam.
Yeah, we have lunch together every day. Yeah, we get together. We have
Oh.
Yeah, prasadam is spiritual food. So
lots of times I've read it but not heard it.
yeah,
I'll just spell it out in my head.
yeah, just like what Tarini just did just then, is that we take the food before we eat. So we just cook lunch for everyone, right? For all of you, because you look hungry. You all got that look in your eye like, when's the guy going to stop talking so I can have the Hare Krishna? I can see it. It's okay. I've seen it before. So, so we just cook the meal, but before we eat it, we offer it to God, to Krishna. So we just brought it in, we put it on the altar, and we say, you eat it first. Because when someone comes to your home, right, you cook the meal and you serve them first. Yeah, you don't invite someone over and you start eating and say, oh, do you want some? Like, yeah, we don't do that. We offer it first to Krishna, he takes it, and then he blesses it, and then it's called prasadam, because now it has spiritual energy, because it's been touched by God himself. Now someone can say, well, that's just your belief. And yeah, it's true, it could be just by belief, but thousands and millions of us around the world feel something very different after we've offered the food. The food has like a spiritual energy, and it purifies you. And it makes your consciousness more spiritual, more enlightened. So just by eating Hare Krishna food, you can become fully enlightened. And that's how easy it is. If it doesn't work, you can have your money back. No problem. But we do experience it. It's like something tangible. I can tell when food's offered and not offered. It's very tangible after many, many years. So we have a lunch together every day like that. And then one of our amazing cooks will cook something like that. So that's more or less a day in the life of what we do here. So please come and stay with us and you can enjoy it. Yeah.
Do you still eat like cheese and eggs, or do you not, like, is it vegetarian or just vegan?
Yeah, technically what we are, we're called Lacto-Vegetarian. So lacto means we take milk products like that. So we milk our cows, we'll take the milk from the cow. Because when you milk the cow, you're not harming the cow, right? So you can drink the milk. We don't eat eggs in our tradition. So we don't eat eggs, but we do take dairy. So we have cheese, we have milk, we have yogurt, we have those kind of things.
So now I'm curious.
Yeah.
Don't harm the chicken in taking the egg,
Yep.
unless we contain the chicken in a negative fashion.
Yep.
So why don't we take an egg?
How explicit do you want me to be?
Yeah.
Very explicit.
Oh, it depends.
Just everyone okay with explicit? It's the menstruation of the chicken. You're eating the chicken's menstruation cycle. So it's a transformation of flesh. It's blood, it's flesh. So it's not, for us, it's not. Krishna, God, he writes in the ancient teachings in the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of our main books, right? He says that. So he says, I don't eat that kind of food. So we have to offer the food to him. So if he doesn't eat it, then we don't offer it. And if he doesn't eat it, then we don't eat it. So that's why he doesn't eat.
So he talks about the
He says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya priyachtati. So he says, yeah, so he says fruits, flowers, water, leaves. He says vegetarian food, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, now that I've been a Hare Krishna for over 30 years, I haven't eaten an egg for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And I don't miss it, you know, because we have so much nice food. And, you know, the thought of eating a chicken's menstruation.
Oh, well, now you put it like that, I understand.
Yeah, now you
know,
understand.
said it's in the book, but I didn't quite, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like you're not harming the chicken.
No, it doesn't harm the chicken.
Um,
Doesn't harm the chicken, but it's not offerable, and it's not,
Yeah.
for us, it's not
okay.
edible.
It's still the flesh of the chicken rather than...
Yeah, it's a transformation. It's the womb of the chicken, like that. So that's why we don't. It's just, it's our tradition. That's what we do. Like that, so. And I haven't eaten eggs for over 30 years. I'm okay.
No,
Yeah.
that's cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking.
Me, I
Yeah.
informed.
Yeah.
May
Yeah.
I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Do you eat mushrooms?
We actually don't. That's another thing we don't eat in our tradition. That's it. And I like mushrooms. I actually like. I grew up eating mushrooms. I like eating. In the ancient teachings, it says they're a fungi, and they're considered to be what we call tamasic, or they have a like an ignorant effect on the body. So they don't like elevate your consciousness, but they kind of like bring it down. It's a type of food. We should do that. Like I said, I personally don't mind eating them because I like mushrooms, but I don't eat them because it's not part of our tradition to eat them. We also don't eat onion and garlic because they overstimulate the nervous system. Just like there's only a couple of foods that when someone's eaten it, everyone knows. Right? And garlic's one of them. Like if someone's eaten it here, like we all know you've eaten garlic. So it hyper stimulates the nervous system. So if you eat garlic, you get too, like, you know, worked up because you've got to love it because it's garlic and it's so good. And
What about coffee?
we don't take anything. One of the, you know, that leads on to another.
Yeah, like comparing stimulants. Okay.
Yeah, another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the Hare Krishna movement, there's 4 things that when you become ordained or you become a committed, like, member of the tradition, there's 4 things that we abstain from. The first thing is eating meat, fish or eggs, all those things. The second thing is we don't take intoxication. So anything which is addictive, we don't take. So I don't drink coffee or tea or anything like that because they're addictive. Yeah, so anything addictive, any drug or anything like that, we don't take. We don't have illicit sex. So it means for those of us sort of the strictest or the most devoted or the most committed, we only have sex for procreation, to have kids, like that. That's the highest level. We don't expect everyone to get onto that level immediately, but that's what we choose to follow. And then no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. So we don't gamble as well, because we see everything as being the property of Krishna, so we don't just like throw it away.
That's not just like, there's not one set of rules for, what did you call it, the more ordained. It must be just one set of recommendations.
It's one set of rules for everyone in our movement, but there's a point in your commitment where you may choose to take initiation.
No.
So that's why my name's Kesava. It means I've been initiated into the tradition. So then at that point of initiation, when you're very serious, then you take vows, and you take those 4 vows, I won't do those things my whole life. Right?
Yeah.
But then, you know, we don't expect everyone to jump to that, because, you know, they're quite, you know, if you look at the modern world, that's not so easy for people.
Not necessarily.
You know, like a few times I've been, you know, giving a talk like this, and I say to people, you know, we don't have illicit sex, we don't eat meat, we don't gamble, we don't take intoxication. And everyone goes, so what do you do? It's like, what do you do with your life? Like that. So, for some people that's like a huge jump. For us, for me it was quite natural because I was already kind of spiritually disposed. So.
Yeah.
Like that, so. Did you have a question? No? I thought I saw someone put their hand up. Any other questions?
How many people live here full time?
Full time, there's 2 families who are here full time, so that's 6. And then we have our volunteers who are now not volunteers, they're like residents. They came as a volunteer 6 months ago and they're still here and they're planning to be here for a long time. So I'd say there's about 10 of us at the moment, if you add everyone up. Yeah, because we've had volunteer, we've got Jeff, you,
There's
Mookie,
5 of us in the ashram.
and Andy, yeah. So some of them have been here for like 2.5 years, some 6 months, some longer. So there's about 10 of us here at this point in time. And then the idea on our master plan is to have about 40 people here. That would be sustainable for this, because there's too much for 10 people. Like we can't keep up.
Yeah.
We've got so much to do. So if we had 40, we could actually, run it more efficiently. So
6 acres of gardens that's a lot for 10 people to manage 6 acres of
yeah.
fruit and veg.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We got into the 6 acres seriously about 12 years ago when me and Money got here, and it was just too much. So we kind of pulled it back. So even though it's 6 acres, we rotate it. So it's not actually 6 acres productive. It's probably about 2 acres at one time. But if we have more people, we could do more. Yes, sir.
With how many families are here, is that including the family of cows?
No, the family of cows, there's 26 of them. Cows and bulls. So now, okay, so thank you for correcting me. We've got about... There's 36 of us living here. 36.
37.
And then if you add up the trees, then there's about 8 million, 60, but good question. Yeah.
What's the dog's name?
Bronte.
Oh.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, she's awesome. She's our mascot. She's so popular that sometimes people come here and they get out of the car and they, walk up, I haven't seen people for a long time and I'll walk up like, oh, Hare Krishna, nice to see you. And they go, where's Bronte? I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just like the add-on here. Yeah, so Bronte, she was brought here a number of years ago. Someone brought her here. It was actually Mani's wife's son. So he brought Bronte here, and they couldn't look after her, so they said, oh, can you look after her? So we said, okay, and then we gave her to someone as a gift. We said, would you be able to look after Bronte? And then they brought it back after a week, and then we gave it to someone else, and they brought it back after about a week. And then at that point I realised that, I think she's meant to be here. So she's been here now she's been here for a while now, 5 years or something, I think. And we only feed her vegetarian food. We don't feed her non-veg. She does kill rabbits and anything that moves. I've seen her kill snakes and all sorts of stuff. So she eats her own. But I say if you want to eat that, that's your choice. But we're only going to feed you vegetarian food. So she's very cool because she's a very peaceful personality. Because according to the law of karma, if you don't live properly as a human being, then you'll regress or you'll take birth as an animal. So I think with Bronte, that she appears quite enlightened. So I think she made a few mistakes as a human, and now she's had to take birth as a dog, but she wound up at a Hare Krishna farm. So I think she's actually a spiritually enlightened soul who kind of went off the track a little bit, and now I think she's reaching back to attain enlightenment again. Because she has a very different kind of vibration, very special personality. So, yes, sir.
Okay, Prabhu, can I have my opinion about the question this young person asked?
Sure.
See, I was born into a family of spiritually enlightened people. My
Sure.
mother was spiritually inclined, but my mother's elder sister was more, and she used to give me a lot of books to read about spiritually, including Vivekananda books. That around 12 years of age, I was thinking, why is she not doing that to her own son? So I was not going into that path, basically. what I'm trying to say is everybody has a calling. The time of that right, one has to recognize that calling at the right time. They are born into good family, like, it is not easy to be born into family or parents who understand this. They must have had previous birth which has some inclination onto Krishna consciousness, I believe.
Yeah.
And this is the right age because they ask the right questions. When we become elders, we stop asking questions. So,
Sometimes, not everyone.
most
I'm
of the
asking
time,
questions every day. So.
So I would say you are in the right time to be into this if you are into consciousness. Yeah, that's my opinion.
No, it's good. Thank you. Thank you for adding that. Yeah, my daughter's 17. She's never eaten meat her whole life, and she never will, I don't think. And she's just spiritual by nature. So I can see that she's like that from her previous life. And we just teach her all these things, and now it's up to her. In January she gets her own car, and then that's it. Now she's got to make her own choices like that. So we've given her all the framework, and now it's up to her what she wants to do with it all. So, any other questions?
I have another question, sorry.
Yeah.
Many questions.
You can ask as many as you want.
You have all day? Joke.
I've got half an hour.
Do you plan to scale up your food production or some business operation to have more people here and deliver more good?
Yeah, we've got a plan at the moment. What we're working on at the moment, the idea is opening a cafe or like a restaurant kind of thing. So especially in summertime, because Lorne's only half an hour away, and Lorne has 30,000 extra people in it every summer. So if we had like a little cafe just out here, and the meditation garden will be finished soon, and then make the shop. We're thinking of like focusing on crystals, because they're very popular with people. So that's one idea we're kind of working towards at the moment. And the food production, we're just looking at producing more food, because we're going to need it. Because the prices are going to get higher and higher at this point in time. So we need to produce. We've got ideas to do. And the more manpower we've got, the more we can do. So, any other questions? Yeah.
Is there any symbolism with the hair?
Why I've got this haircut?
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually when I shave, I just can't see the back part, so I keep missing it. And now it's growing a little bit tall. Okay. No, it's good. It's a good question. Why do people shave their heads in spiritual traditions? Like you see the Dalai Lama, he's the head of Buddhism, so he has a shaved head. So you see the Buddhas shave their heads. Do you need a chair?
I'm okay.
You're okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have chairs, so if anyone is uncomfortable, tell us, because we've got chairs. We're not that tall, so we can give you chairs. Oh, there's a chair here if you want. No, I'm just saying, if you do.
The bear as well.
Yeah. So, thanks, Alan. He's a very enlightened soul. So, you see in most spiritual traditions like Buddhism and Krishna consciousness, and then different traditions, you shave your head as a sign of renunciation. So I've had the same haircut for over 30 years. I just shave it once a month, just take it all off, because renounce this world, because I'm not so...
What are you renouncing, sorry?
Your attachment, because I was actually a model before I became a Hare Krishna when I was 19. I was an acting student. I was studying acting, and I'd make money through modeling. Like that. I think you saw one of my photos recently. Yeah. So I look quite different when I was 19. I had the type of what would you call it? Something. I had wavy hair and So I was you're very conscious. People have a lot of consciousness in a lot of ego, I would say, in their hair and in their appearance. So the first time I shaved it off, when I moved into the ashram, I just felt like so much ego just like dropping away, like self-consciousness, because we spent, the cosmetic industry is massive on the planet. It's like Rihanna became a billionaire recently because of her makeup business. So people have so much identity with the body. So the idea is when you shave your head, then you're renouncing your attachment to your body, trying to understand your soul or your spiritual nature. So in different traditions, you'll see that's why they shave their head. And in our tradition, like in Buddhism, for example, they don't believe in God. There's just nirvana. Nirvana means just like, it just means like a state of kind of, well, it actually means voidism, where everything just disappears. Or some people believe in like just merging into a light or into an energy, which is called Brahmavad or Mayavad. And that means that everything just becomes spiritually one. You just kind of merge into a homogeneous light. So in our tradition, you see like all the other traditions, they shave their head completely, but we keep a tuft of hair, which we call a shikha. Shikha literally means a flag. So it means like a little flag, which is like flapping in the wind. So we keep the shikha, which shows that we are personalists, so we believe God is a person, as opposed to just energy or light or nothing. So in our tradition, that's why you'll see the Hare Krishnas have the tuft of hair, and the Buddhists and everything just shave everything. Because we renounce the world, but we keep our attachment to the personality of God. So that's why technically we have it. It's part of our tradition.
I've got more to ask about that, but I'll leave it.
I know, I've got about 15,000 questions out of it. People just...
I've got time, so just fire away. Whatever you want to know. You can
I
talk.
think I just probably need to read that book.
Yeah, but you'll need clarity when you read the book as well.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good to ask questions, because if you have more questions, ask. We've got time. So, any other questions? Yeah.
There are various sadhus who keep beard and mustaches. There is a purpose of hair in the body. It's natural. If you are taking it off, doesn't it feel like this is something unnatural?
There's two ways of looking at it, because the sadhus or the saints or the spiritual people in India in those traditions, quite often they just grow their hair and they turn into dreadlocks and they just grow like long beards. So that's another sign of renunciation. You just can't be bothered, so you just renounce. Hair is, how would you say it? There's a lot of bacteria in hair, if you analyze it. So in our tradition, and this is back before science, like going back thousands of years, they just knew that it was inherently full of bacteria, so it's called asuchi or unclean. So that's why in our tradition we shave, because it's said to be a higher standard of cleanliness. But in terms of renunciation, you can go one way or the other. You can renounce everything by shaving, or you can renounce everything just by letting it go and just showing you're not attached to your body. So it's personal choice, whatever you want to do. We don't, to be a Hare Krishna, you don't have to shave your head. I shave my head because I'm like a, what we call a brahmana, or a spiritual teacher. So, because I'm so like dedicated to the tradition, that's why I shave. I feel comfortable doing that. But there's nothing that says you have to do it to become a Hare Krishna, so it's up to you. Your beard is nice. And your hair is very nice.
That's my question. If something is natural in the body, it has something to do with the evolution.
Yeah, so we don't believe in evolution for a start. We're creationists, not evolutionists. So, but if you take it a step further, we're not the body. So the whole point of everything I'm doing is to understand my spiritual essence and to transcend this world once and for all. So the body doesn't, if you want to keep your hair, that's superficial. Yeah, the body is superficial. The body's temporary. I'm only in this body for what? I'm 50 now, so I don't know, 50 years max, I would say. Like all my grandparents died around about 90, so I've got 40 years or something. It's not much time. So I'm not going to get overly caught up in my body. Just keep it healthy and keep it running. Service it. But don't get too carried away with it, because it's superficial. The whole world now is all based on the body. Everything's just based on the body. Oh, I like how I look and everything. And if you say something about someone's body that they don't like, then that's politically incorrect. And the whole thing's just gone crazy. Who cares if someone says something? Someone says, you're fat. I'm fat, I'm overweight. Someone says I'm fat, I don't get like, oh my God, you offended me. Oh my God, how could you call me fat? I have to see my therapist. It's like, who cares, man?
It is
It's like,
crazy. But so I've gone a bit of circle on all of this train of thought, and I don't know where I sit right now.
Yeah.
But we are here being human, aren't we?
At this point in time.
And this is what renouncing the humanity of the fact that we're here being human. Sometimes I struggle with that concept because isn't the whole point to actually be human?
No. According to the ancient teachings, this whole thing is a big mistake.
Yeah, I have read that too. No,
Yeah.
it's so true because you can, play your own devil's advocate with these things.
Yeah, it's a big mistake. Originally, according to the ancient teachings, we lived in another world, which some people call heaven, some people call it spiritual world. We call it Vaikuntha or Goloka. We have different names for it. So there's another world. Most of us know that. We know there's another. Hands up if you think there's another place. Yeah, so most of us believe that. 90% of people believe. We know this is not it. So how did we get here? Interesting question, but you need to know the answer, right? And if you want the answer, come back next time and I'll tell you. Any other? No,
That's what we call it.
yeah. Start booking in for next time when I give you the answer. It's all about.
Season 2.
So we'll have to ask for our money back if you
I never said that I would give you all the answers. So the answer is that, what was the question again? No. Why we're here. No, I'll explain.
Have
So
some time.
we were in the spiritual world with Krishna. This is our understanding. We were with God. But He gives us independence. Right? You can't force anyone here to do anything. I can't force you. Oh, you have to have dessert today. You don't eat dessert, you will not. I mean, you're all going to eat it anyway, but I can't force you. I can't stand there when we're serving saying, make sure you eat your dessert. Finish everything. Like that. I can't say that, right? Because we've all got independence, right? And most people don't. Hands up if you like being told what to do. None of us, right? Like, we all want to do our own thing. Like, I want to put my phone there. I'm going to put it there. Like, we've got this whole thing, we like to be independent. Like, Krishna gave that to us. God gave that to us, right? Why? Because He's like that. Right? He's the most independent. When you meet Him, He's another level of independence. Like, He really likes just doing His own thing. Right? But the difference is when you're hanging with Him, He's doing His own thing, but it's so enjoyable, everyone just wants to be with Him. So we were with Him, but we misused our independence. We didn't want to serve Him or cooperate with Him. So He said, that's okay, but you'll have to go and live somewhere else for a while. And guess where we ended up? Here we are. Right? So we're a soul, but we're trapped in a body. The body is not spiritual. When you go back to the spiritual world, your soul and your body are spiritual. Your body doesn't decay, it lasts forever. This body lasts for no time. So, at this point in time, we are experiencing a human experience, and it's important. But the whole purpose of it is to become enlightened. So if you use your human experience, but you don't attain enlightenment, you just wasted a lot of time. And if you look at humanity at this point in time, they're wasting a lot of time. Because most of them are not attaining enlightenment. And then, once in a while you meet us and we say, hey, there is an alternative, there is something else, and we can teach you what you're looking for. And then if people take it up or not, that's up to them as well. When everyone's ready, then we're here. The kitchen is ready. Just tell us when you're ready. And it was a good question. Like that. So what your experience is meaningful, but on another level, it's not meaningful.
No, I don't find it meaningful. I've just found that not embracing the fact that I'm human perhaps isn't, I'm not sure which way works better in the experience of,
I'm embracing the fact that I'm human, because I'm human, here I am. But what am I doing with my humanity? I'm serving Krishna. That's called bhakti yoga, right? So I'm dedicating my humanity to help enlighten others and serve others. That's called bhakti yoga, and that is enlightening. That gives the deepest satisfaction, right? Otherwise, you always feel empty. Hands up if you feel a little bit empty. Sometimes. Yeah, most people say, like that. I don't feel that. I honestly say I don't feel empty. Right? I haven't attained complete enlightenment, but at the same time I feel very complete. I can honestly say that.
Did you feel purposeful?
No, because I'm putting my purpose at the right place.
Yeah.
Because there's so many purposes you can follow in this world.
But purpose is it gives you feel...
No. It pleases the supreme entity.
And you feel that?
Yeah, I feel that, yeah. And when I feel that he's satisfied, like, you know, what's life about? It's about making other people happy, right? That's what we all do. We all try to make each other happy, right? And we're doing it. Like, I'm trying to make you guys happy today. But everyone's trying to make each other happy, but it's not working. Like, everyone's, you know, marriages don't work. Relationships don't work. Families don't work. Friendships don't work. Work colleagues. And they're like, why do the relationships, we're all trying to make each other happy, but it doesn't work, right? Why? Because we don't understand what the actual point of it all is. If Krishna is the ultimate person we're trying to please, and we all kind of work in that direction, we all start feeling happy. You know, so that's the secret to it. And Krishna teaches us in the Bhagavad Gita. And if we follow it, we feel complete. If you don't follow it, good luck. It was nice knowing you all. But that's the way it is. It's your choice. Like, I can't force you to do anything. I'm just giving you the opportunity. If you take it, fantastic. If you don't take it, then, you know, when you're ready, you know, maybe you will. But this is, I'm just presenting to you what's been taught in the ancient teachings. So. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Just the question on the relationships. Like, is there a way to determine the relationship is with someone is karmic or not?
You mean if we have met before in a previous life? Or?
Yeah, something like that. Whether it's like naturally existing or like based on your karmas.
Well, everything's based on karma. But even there's a friend of ours at the moment, he just gave me what we call a Vedic I'm doing a Vedic astrology retreat soon. What we call in India Jyotish, or the compatibility chart. He's interested in, he's met someone and he gave the chart, he sent it to a friend of mine and then he sent it to me to have a look at. And then it was interesting in the reading that this other person said, he said, you know, you've met in a previous life. But everyone thinks that. You know, it's like John Lennon and Yoko Ono, they met Prabhupada back in the late 60s, who was the founder of the Hare Krishna movement. So when they came to meet him, they said, oh, you know, Prabhupada, you know, John Lennon and Yoko Ono, they said, oh, you know, we want to, somehow in our next life, we want to be together again. And Prabhupada said, you're not understanding it. You're not understanding the purpose of all of this. It's not about just, you know, just meeting the same people again, or, you know, we met each other previously. This is all very temporary. This whole material situation. We want to become enlightened and go back to where we're not born and we don't die. So in terms to answer your question, are we karmically connected? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, it sounds good. Oh, you know, we've all met before and like, you know, everyone gets into it, but you know, how do you know? How do you actually know? You go to a market somewhere, you go up to Warburton and go to the market, someone's doing tarot, you know, you go and give them your money and they take, 7 lifetimes. You and your wife have been together 7 lifetimes. So, I mean, it sounds awesome, right? You just pay the money, you got to tell them something really interesting. How do you know? How do you know it's even true? There's so many souls in the universe. I mean, on the earth right now we have 7 billion humans. How do we know? I mean, with 7 billion to 1 that you've been with the same person. That being said, yes, sometimes there is evidence that yes, we have interconnected before. But I'm saying, don't place too much emphasis on it. Because it might or might not be true. So, you know, if it is, it is, and it's not the biggest. It's not the ultimate thing.
And so you're sort of kind of then implying that karma is not necessarily linked directly to like one soul to another. It's the karma that's been created in whatever existence you've had that you bring through with you.
Yeah, exactly. Karma comes from a previous life.
Yeah.
So
not that I knew you there and you shot me, so now I have to come. You know, it's not a.
Yes, someone's going to. If you shot someone in your previous life, someone's going to shoot you.
But it doesn't have to be that one.
It doesn't have to be that person. There's so many people who could do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that, but oh no, that person has to find you again. And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Do you remember 1927?
You know, I always.
And I'm going to see you in 2068.
Yeah, I've sort of kind of wondered about that.
Yeah.
Like,
People get a bit too carried away. There's what we call pseudo-spirituality.
Yes, that's...
It sounds good in a tarot reading.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, whenever you do a tarot reading, it's like, oh...
It's also very romantic though, isn't it? People
yeah, it does.
That whole...
Yeah, people get right into it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, whenever, like, oh, in your previous life, you were Attila the Hun. You know, of course they're going to tell you someone famous, because, you know, they tell you, you know, you were Mrs. McGregor, a fat housewife who had 8 kids from Ireland. You're like,
Well, that wasn't very
yeah, that one. How much did I give you? How much money did I give you? Oh no, wait a minute. Yeah, it just, who knows? It all sounds good though.
No, but in the reality, it does feel like it should be more of an energy thing than a...
It's more of an energy thing,
actual...
and it's not impossible that some of us have met previously. That's not impossible.
No.
But, you know, don't put everything on it.
No. That's...
Yeah, too much. So. Okay, I think we've got 3 hands, so we'll go across. Whoever wants to go first then.
What about your children?
Yeah.
Like, as in, if we're talking about spiritual selves and your children come through you.
Well, they come from your body.
Come from your body.
Yeah.
Is that, you know, people say, you know, these little humans or these little spirits choose you to come into you.
Yeah,
that guided by you, like what?
That sounds really awesome.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not true.
Okay.
Sounds awesome. Oh, you know, like, I chose my mother. I would actually choose my mum because she's awesome.
Yeah.
But my dad... My dad, you know, so it was like 50-50 on my dad. He was 50 awesome, but he's 50 not awesome. So I'm just being honest. Like, so, you know, I probably would have chosen him on many levels, but then I would have told him, don't do all these things, but, you know. So yeah, it's not true. It's your karma. So you get the parents that you deserve to get, right? So if your parents are going to be affectionate, that's because you've been affectionate in your previous life. So you deserve a strong family, right? But that's karma. It's not because, like, you know, we're all sitting up there in this, like, ethereal spiritual cloud, and we're looking down and we go, oh, there's a good one. And someone like, no, I've already taken him. Like, smack him. You know, it all sounds good. Like, you know, it doesn't work like that.
It's competition.
Just say, this is what we call pseudo spirituality, and it's all over the world at the moment. And you've got to be careful because it's just cheating. People don't know. People don't actually know these things. There are some people who know because they're very enlightened, but you know, all I'm saying is don't get carried away with all this stuff because there's no proof.
It's like psychics, isn't it? They can see your eyes, the shape of your eyes changing by what they're saying, and that's what they follow, and they go, oh, I've got something here, and they go on with...
It can be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's genuine ones as well.
The body language.
Yeah, there's genuine ones. There are people who actually have these abilities, and there are people who don't.
Yeah.
So how do you know? And there's people who, you know, they have the ability developed to a certain degree, but maybe not to the point where they can say everything and anything. So, you know, all I'm saying is just be careful. Don't get carried away. So.
Do you guys use like crystals in like your religion? Like, do you use them or do you not?
Crystals are just an optional thing. Crystals have energy in them because each planet gives energy to different stones or crystals.
Yeah.
So rubies, that comes from the sun, right? And then emeralds come from Mercury. Blue sapphire comes from Saturn. Yellow sapphires come from Jupiter. So each of the planets and the energy they represent go into certain stones, certain crystals. So they carry that energy of that planet. And some planets like Saturn's a planet which gives us trouble in our lives. So whenever you're having problems in your life, that's usually Saturn doing it. Just like right now, Saturn's been in this strange situation, and it goes for a few more years actually. And that's why we see on the Earth right now, there's a lot of problems. You know, so that's very much Saturn's influence. And then you have Jupiter, who is gives very good benefit to everyone. And he's actually being, there's a cosmic dance going on between him and Saturn at the moment. You see in the morning when you wake up, you can actually see Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury and Mars at the moment. They're kind of very close together. They're kind of doing this cosmic dance. So Jupiter's kind of his good energy is being a little interrupted by Saturn at the moment. So yeah, these things, they have their place, but we don't get overly carried away with them as well. It's not like, oh, you know, I've got to have my...
Black tourmaline.
Yeah, I've got to have it with me, otherwise I'm just like, you know, I can't go out today. You know, like that. Yeah, don't get too carried away.
And with like,
She's very intelligent, man. No, seriously. Like, yeah, quite a, yeah. Thank you for bringing me on.
with like seeing spirits on Earth,
Yeah.
like with your religion, is that a thing, or is it just you don't see spirits on Earth? You don't like
What do you mean by spirits?
seeing spirits, like orbs and
Yeah, okay. I think what you're talking about would be a ghost. Is that what you mean?
yeah, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah, like that. A ghost is someone who's disconnected from their body. So what happens, that's why suicide is said to be highly unrecommended. Because what happens, if you take because your body's meant to live, say, for 80 years, say, and then at the age of 40, you decide to take your life unnaturally, and then you interfere with the karma that your body's meant to, then you have to live those 40 years as a ghost. So that's when people see ghosts or orbs or spirits, that's what they are. They're people who are disembodied. Yeah, so that's why we recommend don't do that. Because then suddenly you're in this form which doesn't have a body, and then they want to get into other people's bodies so that they can experience. That's why they jump in sometimes to someone else's body, because they want to experience. I mean, imagine like we're serving lunch today, and you're a ghost and you can't eat it, and then you've got to jump into someone here so you can have the feast. And then that person starts going like, like that, because that's what happens. They get into other people's bodies. So yeah, that's what they are. They're spirits. So yeah, they do exist.
So do you definitively then believe that people who suicide, that's a definitive
Yep.
belief?
Yeah, that's why it's not recommended, because
I used to believe that.
Yeah. No, it's there. Because, ghosts exist. They're there. Like some people see them.
No, definitely. Seem to.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Not as much anymore, which is probably kind of good, but a lot when I was your age.
Yeah, no, it's there. They're there, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
Can I ask something about someone wanting to have someone sick with cancer and they want to be put to sleep, or you have a pet, you put it to sleep? Is it the same interruption that's caused?
Yeah, in our tradition, it says that the person has to voluntarily do it themselves. In other words, it's said to be noble to fast. So I actually know people have done this. Like they said, okay, the body's too much for me now, because it does. It gets to a point where it's just too much. So then they choose to fast, and they live like that. But if someone says, "Oh, that sounds very," of course it's intense. But then, in terms of eternal time, that suffering you have to go through at that time, you naturally are able to transcend at that time.
And it is a natural thing when you die to stop eating as well.
It is, yeah.
It is quite
Yeah, because you do lose your hunger.
But if someone assists the animal to die or the person to die?
Yeah, we avoid it as much as we can. We had to get the vet to put our previous dog down, Beamer, because he got to a point where it was too much. And even though it's not our belief, but we just saw. So yeah, in rare circumstances, but generally not.
And then the spirit's okay to continue on itself?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Otherwise you just have to be born again to fulfill that time that you're meant to. Yes.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Yep.
All the scriptures, be it any nation, for example, have spiritual visitations. We call gods, angels.
Yeah.
Of lately, we don't see that being written or mentioned, or have they stopped coming? Or dare I say the word aliens, or whatever. What is your interpretation of that, please?
That's a deep subject, and there's many things that can be said. They're there. They're called devatas. Devatas means they live on higher planets. They're more powerful than those of us on Earth. You look at the pyramids, for example. There's no humans right now with all our technological advancement who can build the pyramids again. They haven't got the machinery to do it. So that was built by these much more powerful beings than us. It's like, most of you have seen Star Wars, right? When Yoda lifts things and that kind of, that's how it was built. It wasn't built by 30,000 slaves pulling a rock up it. It wasn't built like that. So yeah, they're not coming here so much at the moment because they're a bit disappointed by what's going on here. So when we're a bit more enlightened, they do drop in more often. So yeah, that's a Big subject matter, that's the basic. I'll just take one more question because it's time for lunch, but yeah, you guys.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if this question's got an answer then.
I'll let you know.
You said that it doesn't matter if somebody else calls you fat, if some person calls you fat.
Yeah.
And then we've talked about spirits and spirituality, and that actually is quite important because we've got to try and reach this level of enlightenment.
Yeah.
But then we've just talked about different kinds of spirits. Some
Yep.
are potentially angels, some are potentially lost souls.
Yeah.
And I think you can perceive lots of different spirits, personally. But you also said we don't know which ones to listen to, because there are some people who are kind of like,
you mean spiritual guides?
Different guides who are perceiving things, certainly, and I believe that they are perceiving things, but whether they've taken the right perspective on whatever they've perceived, I don't know. So if you've got a spirit that's calling you fat, is that something you should be worried about, or is that something that
in our tradition, it says in the Bhagavad Gita, it says evam parampara praptam imam raja shio vidu, which means that spiritual enlightenment comes from a guru, someone who's physically present in this world. So Prabhupada was the founder of the Hare Krishna movement. He left the world in 1977. And then his disciples, he said not one of them could ever become the guru again because they weren't on his level, and he knew that. So he's left it to, I think we have about 200 gurus at this point in time. So he's left it to them to teach enlightenment. So in our tradition, you need a living guru, not a spirit. Because, the good thing about having a spirit, you can say, well, the spirit told me to do this. Oh, the spirit's, he's talking to me now. He wants me to have two bowls of dessert. It's like, how do you know? So you need a living guru, someone who's here in the flesh who can actually say to you, no, this is what you should be doing. Right? Otherwise you just listen to your mind too much. And
that's the path to higher enlightenment.
Yeah, that's the path to higher enlightenment.
Those gurus themselves haven't reached this level of higher enlightenment.
If Prabhupada had, like he was on the level of Jesus, he was an enlightened soul. Like I've studied his life carefully, I'm convinced he's pure.
Yeah.
Those who are following him now, his representatives, they may not be on his level, but because they're teaching everything in line with what he taught, they are what we call like transcendental postmen. Like they're delivering the message purely. It's like today, I'm speaking to you today, I'm just repeating what I've learned. Right? I'm not enlightened myself, but I'm speaking to you in enlightened philosophy, so it will benefit you, it will help you. That's the point. Good. Did you have a question? No?
As a teacher, you were...
I'll just take one more, and then we have to... Yeah, sorry, just we're out of time.
So, what happens when your guru leaves the physical plane?
Yeah, then there's never one guru, which means we have shiksha gurus or instructing spiritual masters.
Yeah.
So there's multiple. So then when your physical guru leaves the physical plane, then the teachings are still there. Yep. Like, with Prabhupada, we have his books.
Sure.
His teachings are there. And, my physical guru, my original guru, he's also left the world. He left 20 years ago. So, but there are some of his god brothers or god sisters, which means his family, who are also spiritually enlightened to a great degree. Then they instruct me now.
Yeah.
So you've got to have someone physical there. You can't just rely on, if someone's passed, you still need a guide.
Yeah.
Like that. Very good. I would take more questions. We can sit here for the rest of the afternoon, but I'm a little hungry. And I didn't have breakfast, and I'd like something to eat, so if you don't mind, like that. So we have some free magazines here, so if you'd like to learn more, there's a free magazine, you can take that with you. We're going to have lunch, so we'll just go into the next room, and then you can have lunch. And then after lunch, if you'd like to meet us, then we'll go across to see the cows on the other side of the valley. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
See you again.